One. And we are live. Happy Tuesday, everybody. Everybody, happy Tuesday.
Happy Tuesday.
Yes, it is the Ides of March.
Dun dun dun.
All right, so to those who are will be joining us live or watching the recording, welcome. My name is Jynnette the Oracle. My guest is Ricardo, also known as Lavender Freddy on Instagram. If you have not already checked out his amazing art piece that he did on Instagram last year, check it out. He posted every single day. And that body of work was called The Sunscreen Conspiracy. So I highly recommend going through and perusing the efforts and the art and the music and the commentary and all the things that was there. Yes. I am drinking peppermint tea. What you got to sip on today? Oh, your Wi-Fi.
Water.
Your video stopped.
Oh no.
I think it's coming back.
Can you still see me?
Okay, I can see you. Yeah.
Some sparkling water.
Okay.
Yeah. And it's all gone, so I've been pretty thirsty.
Do you want to go get something? Are you good or?
I'm good.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. So last time you had mentioned that you were going to be on this retreat. So tell us more about that.
Yes. It's all happening at a place called River Mountain. So that's already fantastic. I'm going to River Mountain in about a week. The people that have been invited to gather in this space are creating some kind of workshop amongst themselves in order to help define a program that is being invented to support Black women and resting. So, respite and yeah, there's all of these various people coming from different backgrounds, academic backgrounds, health backgrounds, art backgrounds, political backgrounds, religious backgrounds, in order to create a kind of think tank or offer our perspective on how this program could show up or manifest itself. So while we're doing all of these sort of workshops together and icebreakers and getting to know one another, we will be also just contributing to the foundation of what respite's all about. So,
yeah. And it's just Black women, not Black men too?
No. It is specifically focused on Black women in rest, to my knowledge. It is yeah, I don't even know if I should be advertising it, but yeah, it's but yeah, that's what it's going to be about.
Is it connected to
it's connected. Say that again.
Is it connected to Tricia Hershey and her work?
No.
Okay.
It's here in Pittsburgh and Pennsylvania, and it is being funneled through the Opportunity Fund here in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and yeah. What else can I share about it?
Well, I mean, y'all are in the planning stages, so you share plenty.
Yeah.
Is there an interest for you to do something for Black men? or possibly Black fathers?
For me personally, um, I think the only thing not even the only thing, but I would be interested in creating new rites of passages. Um, and I don't know how that's going to show up, but I'm getting married this year. Um, yes, but no, this is one of the rites of passages
Oh,
because
wow. That's
be-
interesting.
because I'm choosing to marry myself.
Okay.
Um, and I am going to look for. There will be a ceremony. There, I am looking into the ring that I would like to symbolize this sort of commitment to my path and my purpose. Uh, so how that's going, but these are the rites of passages that I'm talking about, like creating certain ceremonies and rituals, be if it's marrying yourself or be if it's coming into fatherhood or motherhood, um, to acknowledge, your self-worth, where you're at with your trauma. I mean, because we are living in a very interesting environment. We're living in an interesting presently in an interesting environment that has a very entangled history that is still supporting what's what's being taught today, how we navigate throughout space today, our language that we use today.
Mhm.
Um, so to create these rites of passages to reclaim uh, your own power, so I don't know what the whole marrying myself will create after I go through that kind of ceremonial performance art, but I want it to be beautiful. I want it to be visually poetic, but I also want the language to really resonate with anyone that is meeting themselves over and over again throughout life, and I mean, and still choosing to do this,
Mhm.
in the positions that we're in, um, and also knowing that when you do uh, want to integrate or infuse your light with someone else's, you can at least feel whole unto your own eminence, your own light, your own luminance. Uh, so yeah, to create these kind of ceremonies for that, I'm definitely interested in that. If
Mm.
But yeah, so that's all I got right now. But
That's
my
beautiful.
ring is dope. I'm looking for that ring, and I think I found it. Yeah. I have been married before in the sort of traditional sense, and that went. We chose to do the sort of co-parenting, but going our own ways. But now it's like I want to create something for myself and a reception that that supports that.
What materials are you leaning towards for the ring? A type of metal or wood, rubber? What?
I'm a Capricorn, so I'm definitely going earthy, a kind of more wood and probably with some sort of metal element in the wood as well, some sort of inscription.
It's funny you say that because wood is actually air.
Okay. Okay. So what does that mean?
Well, that's the realm of the mind.
Oh, okay.
consciousness. Metal is literally of the earth.
Yes.
So platinum, titanium, gold, silver, right? Yeah.
Yes.
Rubber as well. But yeah,
Yes.
wood is the air.
Okay. Okay. I'm a little lofty. I got my feet in the clouds, or is my head in the clouds?
I can see that I believe there is a company that has wood bands, and there's the middle is a metal, but I think it's usually like it can be like a rubber or a metal like titanium or steel or something like that. That's usually what I see. I haven't seen
Yeah.
gold or anything like that.
Right.
Yeah, I can see that.
Uh,
So will you have, like, this is just like so fascinating. I love this. Will you have, and I don't know if they are still here and available, but will you have mother and father present?
um, that could happen. I don't know if I want to throw something where I'm inviting my entire family to experience this ritual. I may send out invitations that speak on what I'm about to go through this weekend, and I would love to have your support. If you physically want to be present for this, then it's your option. But it's so new to like Black family, or I don't know, from probably any family, that it could be perceived as jest or something ridiculous or something, so self-absorbed or woo woo, so with me assuming that these perceptions could exist in the crowd, uh, I want to give people the opportunity to read something that I have written for myself that you're basically coming to share in a commitment that I am making to myself. And I'm using the language and the sort of visual ceremony of marriage to express this. So I have to be very careful with, the minds that may be present in this space on this day.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. But that's also why I asked mother and father, not your family, not like family at large, because what you're speaking about is definitely much more intimate, and um, you definitely want to have people there who know you as all of you rather than just archetype of
Yeah.
them, right?
Yes.
But yeah, I mean,
Yeah. Yeah. My mom would be like, whatever, go ahead, do your damn thing, and tell me how it goes. You send me some cake after it's all said and done. So this is kind of like I would love to be in a sort of fellowship with other people that wanted to also have a ceremony such as this for themselves, and you know um, to be able to articulate through word, through any expression, what this means to them, and creating a new like kind of rites of passage. This isn't uh, to be life alone. This is a commitment to living life fully as who you are, with room to just discover new aspects of who you show up to be tomorrow, and just committed to all of that, you know.
yeah.
Yeah.
What color scheme are we going for?
Say that again.
What color scheme are we going for?
Oh, I didn't get into that yet. I didn't
I'm
get
assuming
into
there has to be purple somewhere.
a little bit of lavender here and there for sure. A little periwinkle. But I think if there are touches of color, I think there will be touches of color.
Mm-hmm.
Um, But there's some beautiful, kimonos. I think that's what they call them. No, but
Mhm.
it's kind of like robes. You know, I am looking into those if I want to keep it all black. To kind of do a little flip side of a funeral colors and stuff like that, it could just be like a solid black, but with splashes of, I don't know, silver, lavender. I don't know yet. I have to get into the planning. But I really want to just set my intentions because I know there's going to be elements of performativity that I myself am going to have to push myself through in order to make it real for me. You know, rituals have that tendency to, when you're involved in them, you can kind of just be like, well, what am I doing here? And then something happens in the meditation where you're just like, oh, this is, I wasn't expecting to surrender to it.
Mhm.
So I'm really hoping that I surrender to the reality of what I'm trying to manifest in a rites of passage such as this.
So this brings up a question. Will you actually have someone in a way officiating or
Yes.
holding the space? Okay.
Yes.
So you will be able to trust them because you won't have to be facilitator and facilitated.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's so exciting.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's see how it goes. I don't have a date just yet, but I wanna do it this year.
When's your birthday? Did it already pass or is it coming? Or?
Yes, January
Oh, you're a Capricorn?
8th. Yes.
Why did that not land? Hold on. Oh, because you have such strong Aquarian vibes. Okay.
Yeah.
I have to see the rest of your chart because it's like
Uh-oh. I don't have my time of birth. That's where I run into the sort of roadblock every time I engage with someone that is schooled in that knowledge of doing a birth chart or a reading or something like that.
well, you don't necessarily need that. Like you can there's still a lot of information that can be pulled without the time. And you can still do predictions from that. So you're
That's true.
not really hindered that badly, honestly.
Awesome. Awesome.
No, that's fascinating. But yeah, I'm glad that you will have somebody there to officiate and
Yes.
make it
Yeah.
space so that you can, because that surrender is a necessary component of initiation.
Absolutely.
But also, it is simultaneously an acknowledgement and affirmation of what's already present in a lot of ways.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Um, it also depends on what we're talking about. But when we're talking about rites of passage specifically, let me use that language instead of initiation. Um, with rites of passage, it's an acknowledgement of where you are, what you've accomplished, right? Because it's going to come at very specific stages in one's life that are pretty set.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, and a welcoming into the next stage.
Yes. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So it's both the sacred death and the sacred birth.
I like that. I like that a lot.
Mhm.
Yes. So what's going on with you?
All the beautiful internal things, lots of opening and healing. This is week 2 of the journey with Mama Cacao.
All right.
We had our second group session yesterday, or excuse me, on Sunday. And yesterday, there's like so much happened. First of all, my brother reached out and told me that his wife is pregnant. So I'm about to be an aunt again.
Okay.
Yeah, so both of my brothers now will be fathers, and the eldest daughter is still not married and single. So, listen, just all of the Caribbean grandmas and aunties and fathers just rolling in their grave right now.
How do you what is your, or how does that show up in your life as woman, um time and uh motherhood, because there seems to be a window, where things start to slowly, how is that showing up in your life? Is there what is your relationship with, like with that window?
Well, I've never had the that biological clock thing that other
Yes.
people have had. So it's never children never been a goal.
Yes.
So that was always difficult to navigate because especially from the culture that I am in, this culture is really patriarchal, really religious. Especially if anybody knows about Seventh Day Adventists,
Yeah.
or like just it's a lot. But it's I would say just in terms of navigating that and dealing with that socially,
Yeah.
a lot of that has actually pretty much cleared now. I feel like once I hit like 39, 40, a lot of that really did stop. Uh,
Okay.
for a while, like I was still getting, you
Yeah.
know, all of that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I never had that biological clock come on. But I can sense that I'm on my way to perimenopause. Like
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I can feel the shifts and I'm noticing the changes in my cycle. Like there hasn't been a big change, but I'm like, this is coming close. Like I'm actually at the tail end of this.
Yeah.
And it's really exciting because what I've been also feeling as I've been getting older is as the release of the internal cycle of sacred birth, sacred death,
Yes.
right? In addition to daily body, just general cycle
Right.
and nature cycle, to feel that starting to slow down and a consistent energy
Yeah.
start
Yeah.
to come online too is really interesting to feel into. And I'm excited about it because it's just like, oh, I won't have to plan to be down energetically for a couple days every month.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Not
Okay.
that I'm going to be like hustling and like grinding, but it's just like, oh no, I'm going to like be at what my true regular like average normal is, and that's just going to be it,
Awesome.
right? Like I can go higher, but like there won't be a forced increase. There also won't be a forced decrease.
Yes. Yes.
There'll
Yes.
be a level of equanimity
Yeah.
that just will be abiding, like an abiding energy. And so I'm just actually specifically when I hit 40, like I could start to feel um my relationship with the energy in my body change. It
Mm.
felt like it feels like a lake that is becoming bigger.
Okay.
So it's widening, but it's also deepening.
Wow.
Like I feel like I'm getting more and more access to deeper reservoirs of energy that I just didn't have available because so much is required for preparing for birth, right? Like so
Right.
much goes into that. It
Yeah.
just and the death process, the clearing process, like it requires so much. It was just like, oh yeah, if that starts to go away, I start to fully have 100% of my energy in a different way.
Absolutely. Right.
Um, yeah,
Do
so
you think there should be a rites of passage for that experience?
oh, for the menopausal period? Yes, for sure. And I don't know of any. That is something that I want to look into because I'm also at this point where I'm like, I feel like no one who's older women I've heard talk about this shift in energy and
Yes.
how how we feel. Like we don't really hear about the experiences of older women's bodies. It tends
Right.
to be hyper focused on menstruating bodies and
Okay.
motherhood and
Okay. Right. Right.
not woman as king,
Right.
which is the fixed energy,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And it's just like, oh, the to use gender binary, the man in me, the
Hmm.
king in me is like, oh, this is interesting. I
Yeah.
like this. This feels good. And it's settled, right? Like it's just like, oh,
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Yeah.
Look into that. You should look into that. I mean, because the way that you even speak about it, as far as the lake widening, and also the deepening of that lake. Just that visual in itself. Oh my goodness! You could create a whole weekend about that. For um, I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, it's almost like I feel like my life, a woman's life, possibly up until menopause, is fire air.
Okay.
Or I'll just speak that for myself. I feel like it's been a lot of fire air because so much creative energy, so much spirit, right?
Mm-hmm.
And now I'm also getting access to water, earth.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, so that's
Yeah, right?
yeah, I'm looking forward to. I love getting older. I really do.
Well, yes. Ain't no stopping me now.
Pretty much.
Sure.
But yeah,
So,
no, it's been good. Our assignment for this week is to receive.
mm,
So I am really leaning into that. And we're also to be doing daily video journals. So instead of writing each day, we are to film ourselves each day and watch ourselves back. So it's been really interesting too. And I've done it twice already so far. And watching myself, I'm falling in love with myself. Like I'm getting lost in my eyes. I can feel romantic love pop
yeah.
up. I'm just like, oh my gosh, like this is what people experience when they're with me. Okay, I get it now.
Yes. Yes. There you go.
Like this is the deer in the headlights thing that I see happen, especially with men. Like I understand now because I'm looking at myself like, oh my gosh. And just realize I missed like an entire 5 minutes of talking because I just got
That's beautiful. Beautiful.
so it's been interesting.
Have you been aware of the difference between, like, let's say you have the video sort of testimonials, or the sort of camera play it back, and then you have writing, where you are undressing your thoughts and your feelings and putting them inside of scripture or text. Very similar to how you see yourself in words.
You're breaking up a little bit.
Do I have to move around the house a little bit?
You might have to. It was holding steady for a minute, but like maybe other folks jumped on the Wi-Fi.
The kids are the Wi-Fi for sure. Let me see. Let me know when we have a more flawless stream.
Well, audio is definitely good.
How's here? I don't like the way I looks.
I love it. I feel like okay, I'm getting videos back and working well. Okay, that might actually work.
Okay.
Yeah. There we go.
Awesome. Okay.
Where'd you
So
go?
what'd you say?
Where'd you go?
My daughter's room. Yes. So she'll probably, if she stays downstairs for a couple more minutes. She's on spring break. So yeah, what I was asking you about is, are you aware of the difference between how you show up on video in your relationship? You were just speaking about the sort of becoming enamored with your physical appearance or visual appearance compared to how you show up in text when you're writing, undressing your thoughts, your feelings, and putting them inside of these symbols and stuff like that. Do you have is there a sort of a completely different relationship? Do you still see the beauty?
That's interesting. I hadn't thought about that yet, but what I can say off the bat that's coming through me is when I'm writing, usually spirit will end up coming through.
Okay.
With that. Because like as I'm processing, the time between thought and physical movement is necessarily slower. And so like, I'll be going through things, but I'll also I'll go through a thought and then like deeper wisdom will come through to address it. So it's like an exposing and a processing of the thing, but also healing of it at the same time. Whereas with this, I am talking as if I'm journaling, like I'm not presenting anything. I'm just like talking to the camera. Yes. But I'm seeing fully my intimacy.
Interesting. Okay.
Without divine God or goddess energy coming in, or like ancestors coming in. And not that that's not love, but it's just purely intimate connection.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm in your room, sweetie. Close that door. I'll be right up. So this got me thinking now, like, all right, let's use the word. I'm going to use the word public and private. And I'm thinking that when it comes to text and me just like writing out my thoughts, it's a very private ritual that I'm experiencing. It's coming through me, and I'm using symbols to actually articulate what I am experiencing. Depending on my vocabulary, it could be expansive or it could be very limiting, but still very accurate, with either or. And then with the video, it seems so public. It seems so external, where I am now outside of my idea of self, and looking back in on the mirror, the motion mirror, to like observe the way I move, the way that I smile, am I hiding anything? It makes me more, it creates more of a spectacle of self and objectification of self. And that's okay, but I'm just very interested in what these technologies, even writing, does to our experience, of selfhood.
For me, with this conversation, I'm realizing that often, at least in the journaling context, or actually any creative context, it actually is a conversation.
Nice.
Rather than just purely me getting my thoughts down.
Okay.
Because I don't enjoy writing. So it's a processing of thoughts, but it's also a way for me to get out of my head and also get what I need. So there is a conversation, there is a me and other. So that is actually, I would say, using your language of public and private, that's actually the private conversation, or the private endeavor, or it's the public orientation is writing.
I'm almost done. About a couple more minutes. Thank you.
Yeah, we'll close. We'll close. So yeah, that's public because it's conversation. Whereas with this, it's a front facing camera, so I don't have a camera off to myself, but like I thought I would be self-conscious because if I'm on a platform like Instagram or Facebook, I go into performance. But with this, since it's just my camera and no one else is
Right.
seeing me,
Ooh,
and I'm just
yes.
talking to myself and looking at myself, like I just drift off and I just talk and just have my conversations and I just get to watch myself as I think and as I sort through my feelings. And it's just like, oh, and I just see what I'm seeing is that light and that intimacy and just the pureness of my essence. And that is what has been eliciting that like this love.
Right, right, right.
Oh, you're so precious, you're so beautiful, not aesthetic, but like this, I see it now. I see what people are seeing when they look at me.
That's awesome.
Because I'm having a conversation with me,
Mm-hmm.
even without spirit.
Yeah, 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 yeah. That's deep.
It is, and I'm thank you for asking that because I'm going to sit with that. I'm like, oh, I didn't realize. I know I walk with spirit so much and with spiritual energy and just everything, but I'm like, oh, I don't really like just spend as much time with just me that much.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a bad thing, but this is like, oh, this is where I can fall in love with myself more.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm gonna have to take that with me too. Because I have a very skeptical relationship um, with the the reproduction of my image. The I have a skeptical relationship with tech. Anything that is representative of you know um, myself, and even the mirror. When I look in the mirror, I'm like, you know, is this what people are seeing? Am I straightening my eyebrows out just for myself or for other people? Does my beard look? It looks rugged to me, but kind of cool. But somebody may, I go out to the grocery store and somebody's just like, "You have a nice beard." Beard. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, I wouldn't have used that word. So it's very interesting that um, these spaces that give me the opportunity to disengage but still be involved with the idea of self, but in a critical aesthetic sort of objective, still subjective, like there's still so much going on.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, and really striving for authenticity with the word, with the videography, with the music, with the art, with the various mediums that I'm choosing to use to communicate something that I know to be me. You know what I'm saying? That's a relationship that I'm very slow about. And I'm also aware of agitprop and propaganda. I would say I'm an agitprop artist at times. Um, I would say all art is propaganda. Um, so I'm also very aware of the manipulation of when I send a selfie or the things that I post. Like right now, I don't like the way the light is hitting this part of my eye or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And,
yeah.
and I make sure that it's just, wait, if I can find
Yeah.
it. I can't find it right now. Damn this lighting! But
Yeah.
but it makes everything kind of staged for me.
Yeah.
And there's still realism and authenticity in that choice to assume a position that I like to see. It says a lot about who I am, the things that I post. You know what I'm saying? Especially when I'm in it.
Yeah.
Be if I'm fixing a car tire and shit like that, whatever I post, but I'm I'm sharing all of this to say that my relationship with these representations of things moments that I've experienced or life lived, I'm very aware of the power that I have to manipulate or the heightened self-awareness that it creates, and getting to that, like how you said, you see what people see now. You know what I'm saying? So in order for you to make a statement like that, in my mind, I'm like, oh, she's looking beyond. You know what you're looking at something. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and so, but also, me having this experience is also because of, in a lot of ways, working with this medicine.
Okay.
So, because again, it's an inviting energy that is opening up of like, just see. So, I've already been, and not to say that I wouldn't necessarily like love myself if I'd done this exercise outside of this container, but I think because of the work that is being done, or the relationship building that's actually happening with cacao, she's specifically smoothing those compulsions for an authenticity.
Okay.
To keep the heart open and perception open. Right. So it's a lot less effort.
Yeah.
Like, even if my mind wants to even start to go there, like, I can feel it dissolves, because it's not the energy that is even being cultivated and that's being grounded by the cacao in my body now after 8 days, 9 days.
Yeah.
Right. So like the curation is not there. Which is why I'm able to perceive, oh, I see my spirit.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That also brings up something, and you probably have to go because, kitties, but maybe we can circle back to this next week, which will actually be our final. So it'd be great to circle back, fatherhood part 2. But one of the things that actually came up as well over the past couple of days is specifically with me, with my work with my creative energy, and realizing that a lot of stuff that I have, that I have rough drafts completed of, I've been having the mindset that they are things yet to be birthed. And I got the insights to correct that mindset, because they've already been birthed, which is why I even have a draft in the first place. Right? So just idea. Right. So that was a big shift. It was like, oh, I have a child now, and I need to raise this child.
Mm-hmm.
So it needs to go from childhood to teenagehood. And the journey of the teenage process is the who am I, but also who can I be in this world, because I'm being influenced by all these external things, and what do I resonate and what do I not resonate? So like audience, market, right? Like that's
right.
This context, right? But the insight came in, again, working with Mama Cacao, about like, oh, I need to receive guidance from those who have raised teenagers.
Mm-hmm.
Because the way that you guide a child to discover self while still holding boundaries, while also still like, that's a very different process than when child is 3, 4, 5, 7.
For sure.
Right? Like very different. And it's hard. It's hard in a different way, because it's like you're finding self, you're trying to stay true to self, but you're still also grappling with other in a very different way, because it's like taking the archetype, staying true to the archetype. And I was going down this theme of just using like the color blue as archetype, but the specificity of the personality that gets developed is going to be the different shade or tone of blue. So are we going to be a sky blue? Are we going to be a cobalt blue? Are we going to be, a cerulean blue? Like where, and like that's where the variation gets to come in. That's what gets to be decided. But the me as parent, as creator of this thing, navigating, helping this body of work that's out be refined and navigate and retain its essence, but also show up in a way that is going to be best for it.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
So yeah, let's talk about that
the
next week.
wisdom of well, the term allowance shows up for me, you know, and not just a transactional sort of allowance, but allowing and acceptance.
Let the church say amen. Yes.
Yeah.
Children screaming in the background. They agree.
But yes, it's a very interesting space to hold for something. It's an interesting space to hold for a tree, you know, where you begin the planting and there's so much control to like hold it up straight to make it go in a certain way, but then there's a time where you can no longer see the branching out that's happening underneath the earth. You don't know the choices that are being made, and you have to accept, you know, that I've done the work. I've done what I have to do. You know, I can do a little bit of pruning here and there if it gets too out of control. But yeah, you don't know where the branches are going to shoot out. You don't know what color it's going to be in the fall or throughout the different seasons. So
Yeah.
you did the work by dreaming the seed and cultivating the soil, and yeah, there's this sort of stepping back and allowing something to. But we can explore that more for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, that part that you were speaking about of the helping that beginning stage of it go straight and like steady, like that to me is the teenage space. And then once those things get taken off, then you have the adult tree, and it's going to do what it's going to do. Like that's when you actually, you know, the work is published, the film is made or whatever, and it's just going to do what it's going to do, right? But that in between stage.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I'm looking forward to receiving your wisdom on that next week. Well, your wisdom meaning just your experience, because you have the experience as parents.
Yes, I appreciate that. Yes. Going back to that last thing that we just came off of, the relationship with representation, and I just wanted to say you said something that made me think about looking at yourself, looking at oneself, and it made me think like, oh, there are those moments where I'm no longer looking at myself and I'm looking inside. You know what I'm saying? I'm no longer looking at myself, but I'm looking in myself.
That's what it is. Thank you for that shift in the word.
And
seeing in myself.
Yes, and when that happens, there is no disconnection, you know, from the representation, or, you know, being outside of, you know, that sort of thing. So that's a very interesting moment to have, because sometimes you just stay outside and you're just looking at, and then you have this moment like, oh shit, something showed up there and you're now in there. Yeah, it can be a very, very powerful revelation to have that sort of exchange with yourself, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In.
So we got one more. We got one more that we're doing. Even though March has five of these weeks, but I will be at my whatchamacallit, retreat. Yeah. And I'm looking forward to our last one as well. Go out with a bang.
Yeah. Well, we end where we began, back at fatherhood.
Bring it around. Why do you want to come back to fatherhood? What's up with that? What's going on?
Well, I mean, the title, but it's being parent of something that you have created and taking it from child to its fullest form of adult, but going through that stage of, because that's literally where I am with the couple of projects that I have. I'm in the editing phase because I've had the insight of like, oh, I'm not trying to birth something. I already have something. I'm
Gotcha.
working with what's here. And I didn't have that awareness, but also two, I've never been here in this kind of way with bigger bodies of work.
Yeah.
And I get to allow myself to lean into those who have done this work in whatever capacity, because it's the same work.
Yeah.
To lean into that support. So that's really what it is.
Well, I'm clearly exposing myself about that term. I'm like, what's going? Why we gotta do this again? So.
Well, also, it's the experience. Yes, I'm like, oh, I'm still here. We're not done yet.
Awesome.
Because you do have an older child, so you've gone through the teenage phase.
Yes.
And about to enter, because you're in preteen with another one, right?
Yes. So.
Yeah. So please just share all the ways that you're coping.
Yeah, I should.
And also because you are adult / elder as an artist, you've also taken your creative projects as parent through child, teenager, and adult phase. So again, the wisdom is the same.
Yes.
I'm just taking us back to that title because it's funny and it's a way to like,
I dig it.
It's a fun energy, right? It's a circle.
I dig it. Yes. Awesome.
All right, well, thank you for your time. Thank you to the kitties for allowing you to.
Yes. They did it. All right. So I'll see you next week.
Yes, God willing, of course. All right. Bye, everybody.